Speaking of Brock Purdy, what I think is so interesting about this news, the report today is that the 49ers and George Kittle have begun negotiation talks.
Mhm.
That's good to know. I can't help but notice that we haven't heard that report about the 49ers and Brock Purdy. It's possible they've been negotiating for weeks. But Diana Rossini of The Athletic, who's extremely plugged in, said that she thinks they haven't started yet. She said that she thinks they will start soon. And I'm sure they will start soon, of course. I just think it's interesting that it seems Kittle took precedent. Kittle took priority. Would you read it that way? Would you have taken care of Kittle first?
I would have. I think the order in which they've taken care of the offseason right now, I honestly love it. I love the demo. I think after BA and Trent, I think they have handled everything since then in the front office perfect. Signing Demo in the middle of the season so we don't get into another long conversation in the offseason. Getting Saleh handled. I know a lot of people hated that they were putting all their eggs in one basket, but I have a feeling
they got him.
But yeah, I have a feeling they were having a lot of conversations with him, making sure that it was a smart decision to put their eggs in his basket. Getting the special teams coordinator, I think, was a really underrated move. And now handling Kittle, restructuring Fred. I think part of the reason is also, like we just said, Kittle's less expensive. He's a lot cheaper than whatever this negotiation with Purdy is. And I also think the negotiations, in my opinion, what I would do and in my mentality, my negotiations with Brock Purdy would be a lot shorter.
Yeah. To me, this is a meritocracy. And you got George Kittle, future Hall of Fame tight end, one of the greatest players in franchise history, coming off one of the greatest careers of his seasons of his career, if not the best.
Yep.
And absolutely, you talk to him first. You can't put George Kittle on hold and be like, George, we'll get to you, but we gotta talk to our 25-year-old quarterback who's coming off a really down, disappointing year because he's more important than you. Can't do that.
And here's the thing, right? If you did do that, George would say, sure, go for it. I understand it. And that's why you talk to George Kittle first. That right there is exactly why you talk to him first and take care of him, because he deserves it, because he takes care of everyone. He's restructured when we've needed him to restructure. He's a sixth offensive lineman. When these tight ends don't want to be that all the time, you take care of George. You take care of George. I'd even take care of Fred before Purdy. I'd take care of George. I'd take care of Fred. I'd take care of all that.
I think it's interesting that at the locker room clean out press conference at the end, like after the last game of the season, you remember Purdy said he wants to take care of this as quickly as possible, which sounded like such a noble thing to say, but also kind of seemed like a bit of a nerve. Like, well,
yeah,
I mean, you're gonna have to negotiate this. And then a couple of days later, John Lynch was asked about that. He's like, "Would you like that too?" And he didn't answer directly. He's like, "Well, these things they're a process."
I'm telling you, man. I think, like we've talked about it a couple shows now, in my opinion, if I was John and I was them, this negotiation with Purdy would be very quick. You come at me with 60, like we are very far away. You have a couple options. You can take a Daniel Jones contract at about 48. You can play out your rookie year and try and prove us wrong to get 60 to 65 if you want to win a Super Bowl, or you could test the market. But
here's what I want to ask you from Purdy's perspective. He said a month ago, I want to get this done as soon as possible. Technically, they could have given him an extension. They could have begun the extension talks as soon as the final whistle blew on their season. So the next day, he's like, let's get this done. And I don't know, maybe him and his agent are talking, although it hasn't been reported. Now Purdy's at home and he sees, they're talking to Kittle. I haven't gotten an email. I haven't gotten a call. Has my would you be wondering why are they waiting? I'm ready to go.
I think Purdy and his agent know that if they want these to be done quickly, he needs to take less money. I think Purdy knows if he wants $60 million, this is not going to be quick. I don't see the Niners giving him 60. I just don't. I can't.
What I could see them doing is giving him like a very team-friendly deal that looks like $60 million. Like they can finagle it in a certain way that helps him save face to the public. But when you actually look at the details, it's extremely team friendly. That's all I can see them doing for him. Maybe he'll take that. Maybe you won't.
My thing is, I think signing him to $60 million is like trading Luka to the Lakers, man. I think it's a dumb decision. I think it'd be a huge mistake. And I think I genuinely think you risk your job if you give him $60 million, if you're John and Kyle. Because at that point, you're saying, we think he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and we are hitching our wagons to Purdy. And I do not think that John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan want to risk their careers on Brock Purdy getting $60 million. Do you? I think Kyle's ego is way too big for that.
And if they do sign Purdy to this big money and give him all this signing bonus, I just can't see them making another big move. No. If they sign Purdy and give him $300 million, they're probably going to lose Greenlaw. They're probably going to lose Ward, Hufanga. I mean, a lot of depth, a lot of starters.
I was actually thinking about this. You know what kind of set me off to I don't think they're going to pay Purdy big money this offseason? Is everyone talking about at the Senior Bowl that the Niners were talking about T. Higgins a lot. Because T. Higgins is going to take money. Like, he's not going to be cheap at all. He's going to be 30-ish million a year. And then you have the team, the entire team. Demo is on a recruitment tour for Max Crosby, Myles Garrett. That's money. And you know John's going to call for them. Like, he's not a dumb GM when it comes to splash moves like that.
Because the Rams are too.
Yeah. And so you have that's 3 massive money players that they're talking about. And then you heard from Fred at the Pro Bowl that Saleh has been talking about Greenlaw and wanting Greenlaw back. So that's more money. So in my opinion, these are kind of all flags for me that the Niners are not that concerned with paying Purdy at least big money this offseason, because they're talking about getting a lot of big money players to come into the franchise, which is Myles Garrett or trading for Crosby or bringing in T. Higgins. Like, if you bring in Myles Garrett and T. Higgins, you have no money to pay Purdy.
Also, with Purdy, he has the locker room. Like, he has the support of the locker room, it seems. They all want him to be their quarterback and want him to get paid. But if he holds out or makes this a big thing like Ayuk did, I don't think the team would appreciate him holding them hostage. And I don't think the team would appreciate him saying he's worth $60 million when they've offered him 50. So I think he's in a bit of a precarious position. He is replaceable, even though they're going to offer him a ton of money like he's not. And I think there's a lot of pressure on him to take the first offer the Niners give him, even though the Niners have a history of making substantially bigger second offers in September. I don't think he's going to wait for it.
I mean, and in my opinion, if I was John, we've talked about this. This is the offseason where I bring the hammer down. If you want to hold out, we're going to find a replacement. And they're going to be our QB1. If you want to hold out, I'm not playing these games anymore. I'm not doing this like we did with BA. I'm not doing it like we did with Nick. We're going to draft a replacement for you. And he will be our QB1. And when you want to return on your rookie or contract, you can battle it out.
Yeah, and look how Darnold looked on the Vikings playing with a really good supporting cast. If you have Christian McCaffrey, T. Higgins, George Kittle, all of Juwan Jennings, maybe Brandon Ayuk eventually, like Daniel Jones would look good. Justin Fields would look good. Zach Wilson would look good. Like a lot of guys would, and for a lot cheaper.
Yep, I completely agree. That would be the extent of my conversation with Purdy and his agent. If you guys, we are not playing this holdout game. You guys can accept what we have to offer or play on your rookie deal. If you want to hold out, we will just grab a replacement and they will be QB1, and Brock can battle for it when he comes back. But that's going to hurt your value next offseason that he is now in a QB battle, because we're not playing these games. Our goal, like their goal is win a Super Bowl. Their goal is win a Super Bowl within the next 2 years. You can't be playing these games, these holdout games. If Purdy wants to make a stink, in my opinion, find someone else. Like, he's not that good where you can't find someone to take his spot, in my opinion.
I just think it's funny that the Niners are saying, yeah, we'll get to you.
Yeah.
Hang tight. Hang tight, buddy.
I agree with the philosophy, don't you?
I do. And I actually think it's the first strong thing they've done in a while.